Well, thank you very much. That was very unexpected, but incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and law enforcement. And this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified, I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way very beautiful, a very beautiful thing to see. A man charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons, and he was taken down by some very brave members of Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You probably have it by now. Put out on Truth and put out on many other platforms. A tape showing the violence of this thug that attacked our Constitution, and also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted on our country's behalf. Really did a great job. One officer was shot, but saved by the fact that he was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun, and the vest did the job. I just spoke to the officer, and he's doing great. He's in great shape. He is has very high spirits, and we told him we love him and respect him, and he's a very proud guy. He's very proud of what he does, Secret Service agent. And we looked at all of the conditions that took place tonight, and I will say, you know, it's not a particularly secure building, and I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom. That's why Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it. They've wanted the ballroom for 150 years for lots of different reasons, but today's a little bit different, because today we need levels of security that probably nobody's ever seen before. But everyone owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to the courage of law enforcement, the law enforcement, and working with the D.C. police. And we just spoke with the mayor, and when we're finished, the police chief is going to take over and discuss it also from their viewpoint. But they also performed exactly as they were supposed to, and you see the attacker in different positions, but you also see the attacker totally subdued and under control. So as you know, this is not the first time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill. In Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago, you all know that story, and in Palm Beach, Florida, a few months after that, we came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I asked that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd. There was a record-setting group of people, and there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very, very impressed by that. But we were, First Lady and I were taken very well care of, very quickly rushed off the stage. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here, was likewise beautifully done. He was just saying how quickly everybody acted, law enforcement, Secret Service in particular in this case, but law enforcement. Marco had the same thing. Pete was there. Pete didn't want any help. He didn't want anybody to help him. He doesn't want anybody to help him, but he did get some, didn't you? And I think you also said that it was very impressive. So with that, I'd like to ask Todd Blanche to come up, say a few words, and tell you it's already underway. The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California, and he's a sick person, a very sick person, and we don't want things like this to happen. I think it's very important that I say, though, and I told the representatives of the evening, they did such a beautiful job. It was such a beautiful evening. And again, they're talking about free speech in our Constitution. That's what it's all about, not just White House correspondence. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media. You've been very responsible in your coverage. I will say I've been seeing what's been out. You've been very responsible. So Todd Blanche, I'd like to say a few words, and then we're going to have cash. And then you're going to go on. We can ask, I guess we can take a couple of questions. I want to thank the First Lady that was a rather traumatic experience for her. There was a lot of action taking place up there very quickly. But again, the response time was really incredible. And we're going to reschedule. We're going to do it again. We're not going to let anybody take over our society. We're not going to cancel things out because we can't do that. We wanted to stay tonight. I will tell you, I fought like hell to stay. But it was protocol. They said, please, sir, because they didn't know there was a lot of action going on, and they didn't know could there be probably a lone shooter, but we'll find out. We'll find out very quickly. They have it very well under control. So I want to thank everybody very much. And Todd Blanche, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Tonight you saw the very worst and the very best of this country. You saw the very worst by the actions of that coward that the President just talked about. But you also saw the very best because you saw law enforcement do exactly what they're supposed to do. And you'll see the videos come out, I expect, very shortly, and you'll see law enforcement do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement that did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see charges filed shortly. The charges should be self-evident given the conduct, but as you'll hear, there will be multiple charges surrounding the shooting, around the possession of firearms, and anything else that we can get on this guy. The investigation is obviously ongoing and just started. There's federal law enforcement already working on search warrants and doing their job, and I don't want to get ahead of them and don't want to get ahead of the work that they're doing even as we speak. Director Patel and I were just on the crime scene a short while ago, and everybody in this room should rest assured that the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, Secret Service, everybody's on the scene doing their job. I know that the police chief is going to give an update from the scene as soon as we're finished here, and I obviously will lead the details of what they have learned to him. But in the meantime, I just want to thank everybody in this room for the courage. And I want to thank President Trump for his words, and I promise you, justice will be served. Thank you. Dr. Patel.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Mr. President. The President's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365. You give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect, and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals at that hotel. Thanks to our interagency partnership with the Department of Homeland Security and the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI was rapidly deployed onto the scene, took over the evidence response unit, is examining all the ballistics that were found on scene, to include the long gun and the shell casings. We are conducting witness interviews as we speak. You will hear from our team on the scene there with the mayor and the head of the FBI field division there. But please know what the Attorney General has just said reigns no truer. You saw the very best of America tonight. The very best unite us at a time of uncertainty, because we have leadership here with the president and the vice president that backs law enforcement, and the men and women that I shook their hands on the scene today could not have been prouder to show up on scene. And as the Attorney General said, make no mistake, we are conducting witness interviews. If you have any information whatsoever related to this event, 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. No piece of information is too small. No piece of information is inadequate. We will evaluate it all. We will also be conducting interviews of those that were there. And if any of those individuals have information, please come forward to law enforcement or the FBI or the Metropolitan Police Department. We will be examining this individual's background thoroughly. That process has already started, and we are going to ensure that he was either a lone wolf actor or anyone else that was responsible. We will analyze all evidence immediately to make sure that we safeguard this country. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your leadership. Attorney General and Homeland Secretary Marlin, thank you for your partnership in law enforcement.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do a couple and then we go to the chief. Madam Chairman, I just want to say you did a fantastic job. What a beautiful evening, and we're going to reschedule. Okay? And after that, it's very tough for her to ask a killer question, right? But you have done a fantastic job. Please.
Mr. President, I appreciate it. As you mentioned, it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And I wonder, especially because unfortunately you have experience with these sorts of threats, in that moment when you realized there was a threat and service agents were telling us to get down, can you describe what was going through your mind, how you were feeling in that moment?
That's a very good question, actually. It was, it's always shocking when something like this happens. It's happened to me a little bit, and that never changes. The fact, we were sitting right next to each other, First Lady on my right, and I heard a noise and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. You know, I've heard that many times, and it was a pretty loud noise. And it was from quite far away. He hadn't breached the area at all. They really got him. But, so it was quite far away, but it was a gun. And some people really understood that pretty quickly, other people didn't. I was watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster. Melania was very cognizant, I think, of what happened. I think she knew immediately what happened. She was saying, that's a bad noise. And we were whisked away along with other people, but we were really whisked away. And again, the performance of the Secret Service and the police, all of the law enforcement, I thought was really good. So it was very quick. There wasn't a lot of time to be thinking, because it was a matter of seconds before we were out the door and gone into an area. We very much, and you wanted to too, we very much wanted to continue it, because I don't like to let these sick people, these thugs, these horrible, horrible people, change the fabric of our life, change the course of what we do. So we held out. You were there. We held out right till the end, but they didn't want to take a chance, and I understand there was protocol. But we're going to be doing one hopefully within the next 30 days or sooner, and I am ready, willing, and able. And I was all set to really rip it. And I said to my people, this would be the most inappropriate speech ever made if I said what. So I'll have to save it. I don't know if I could ever be as rough as I was going to be tonight. I think I'm going to be probably very nice. I'll be very boring the next time, but we're going to have a great event. And you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. There's a report in the New York Post that this assailant assembled his weapon somewhere on site at the hotel. What do you think about that? And I ask respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, you know, I've studied assassinations, and I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most, you take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln, I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this, where they got them, but the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much, because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the names there, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We've taken this country, and we were a laughing stock for years, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. So I think that's the answer, Peter.
And after Butler, your team for a while rethought outdoor events.
Yeah.
Do you think that you now need to rethink
No.
indoor
Well,
events?
but then you just don't do events. No, I can't do that. I have to. It is what it is. We have to do it. The room was very, very secure. He charged from 50 yards away, so he was very far away from the room.
And what did you think when you saw the video of how fast he was running?
He was moving. He was really moving. And the reaction time was great. Boy, those guys, they had their guns drawn literally by the time he was there. They were shooting.
That's right.
I thought they were very impressive. And if I didn't, I'd let you know. I'm not going to be, I would not stand for that. No, I thought they were very impressive.
Thank you, President Trump, and thank
Right.
you for updating us on
Thank
the
you.
suspect earlier. Were you aware of any threats? Was your team aware of any threats beforehand? And do you believe you were the target of this tonight?
I guess. I mean, these people they're crazy. They're crazy. And, you never know. He was very far away from me. He had to go through a lot. We had resources all over. We had resources sitting at tables, literally in disguise, sitting maybe at your table, who knows? But we had people all over the room, so he had a long way to go. That was really a first line of defense, and they got him. And they really, they acted incredibly. No, there was no notification. We had no idea. Go ahead,
Do you know
Kevin.
any political motivations from this?
Well, you never know. Now, we'll be able to tell you that maybe by tomorrow or the next day. He's in custody, and they're asking him a lot of questions. I guess they're going over, Todd, and they're already at his apartment. He lives in California.
Yes, sir.
And they're over there, so they'll be able to tell you. Thank you, Caitlin.
President Trump, did the suspect say anything, or was he wearing anything that would allege some type of motive here?
Nothing. No, I mean, he was a guy who looked pretty evil when he was down. They had him down. He was fighting hard. He was in my opinion, a sick person. Who would do that but a sick person? But I think you're going to find everything about him. No reason to talk about it now. But tomorrow at this time, long before this time, you're going to know a lot of things about him. They seem to think he was a lone wolf, and I feel that too.
Are you concerned about U.S. Secret Service protection ability? We saw several of the detailees take minutes to be escorted out of the room.
No, they acted very quickly. No, I was very impressed by Secret Service. I mean, I'm the one, and Mark Wayne, you would agree with that, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm the one that would complain. You don't have to complain for me. I would be complaining. I'd be up here right now saying they didn't do their job. Oh, believe me, because, it's my life, and I want to live because I want to make this country great. That's why I want to live. But when you're impactful, they go after you. When you're not impactful, they leave you alone. Okay, a couple of more. Go ahead, please.
Is there any indication that this shooting could have been linked to the war in Iran?
I don't think so, but you never know. We're going to know a lot. We have the best people in the world working on it, and we're going to know a lot. Please.
Mr. President, there's a lot. You, as well as some of us who have covered Butler, experienced another horrific day 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What felt similar? You had the First Lady with you today. What felt different? And you have another 2+ years in office. Are you concerned about something like this happening
Well, I
again?
can't be concerned. I can only get great people. They did the job, in my opinion, a much better job than Butler. Butler had one weak spot that we all know about. Somebody should have been up there. But even Butler, we had our sniper on our side within 4.2 seconds from a distance of about 400 yards, one shot, and he was gone. And if he didn't do it, now, he's David. His name was David. I say, hello, David, every time I see him. David, I like you very much, David. But think of that. Now, if he doesn't hit him, and he hit him right between the eyes from 400 yards without any notice, nobody knew. He heard a sound. He looked over, and there was actually a tree that was somewhat in his way. You know the story very well. And he aimed, he fired, and if he didn't do that, beyond me, you would have had a lot more people killed. We lost one great person and 2 people very badly hurt. They're okay now. But no, that was, so in a sense, It was pretty amazing the job they did. But they did have that one weak spot, as you know. They should have had that covered. Tonight they had everything covered very quickly, and he was fast. He was running full blast, and they got him before they got any further. I was very far away. You know, he hadn't anywhere close to breach the doors of the ballroom. The ballroom was sealed, and everybody in there. That's why once those doors opened, they didn't want to do tonight. If the doors weren't opened, we could have probably done it tonight. But I think we're much better off rescheduling. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, for you and perhaps law enforcement as well, what is the level of confidence that this was a lone actor, and has the suspect made any statements to police while in custody?
Yeah, I think it's just it's not my profession. We have great professionals up here and outside that have been working with us. My impression is he was a lone wolf, whack job. These are crazy people. These are crazy people, and they have to be dealt with. We had that in the second attempt, as you know, and he's spending life in prison, because if you let him out, they'll probably, you know, if he serves 10 years or 15 years, you let him out, he'll probably try it again with somebody else. They're sick people. We have a lot of sick people. But you're going to know, I think very shortly, you're going to know, Todd, a lot about him. You're going to know a lot about him. Yeah, a couple of more. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Are you concerned about political violence? This could be politically motivated.
All violence. You know, I'm concerned about everything. Look, but I can't be so concerned that you can't function. No, I'm here. It's a dangerous profession. You know, I tell the story, race car drivers, I think it's very dangerous. So if you take 1% and then take about 10% of 1%, just to break it down very easily, they die. So much less than 1%, 10% of 1%. I think bull riding is very dangerous. If you take about the same, 10% of 1%, much less than 1%. But if you take presidents, it's 5.8%. And about 8% are shot at. So nobody told me this was such a dangerous profession. If Marco would have told me, maybe I wouldn't have run. Maybe I would have said, I'll take a pass. No, it's a dangerous profession, but I don't view it that way. Look, I'm here to do a job. It's part of the job. It is a dangerous, I can't imagine that there's any profession that's more dangerous. But I love the country, and I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the job we've done. You see what's happened. We have a great country. We've got, I think, the most successful, the hottest country anywhere in the world. This happened over a period of just a year, and we're going to do great things. But with that come risks. There's no question about it. Yeah.
To that end, I mean, there's been so much political violence, not just aimed at yourself, but at other members of, members of Congress, state house speakers, you name it. Is that just the cost of doing business to do politics in America anymore?
Yeah, well,
what does that say about our country?
Too. You know, we're not the only country. You look at this great violence with all countries. I was talking to somebody from another country today, and they have numerous assassinations of political figures all over the world. You look at South America, it's like some of the numbers are just horrific. It's dangerous. It's dangerous stuff, whether it's here or someplace else. No country is immune. No country. Good question.
Is it possible to turn that temperature down at this point?
Well, probably if I decided to just not do much, if I let everybody rip us off and take advantage of us. Look, we're leading the world in trade now. We're leading the world in the military. We're the greatest military in the world. I rebuilt it in my first term, and now we use it because we have no choice. We can't let, as an example, Iran, we can't let them get a nuclear weapon. Everything will be peanuts compared to that if they ever were given a nuclear weapon, and they'd use it too. Marco and I were talking about it today. They would use it without even hesitation. We can't do that. It was a shame. I said, oh boy, look at the numbers. We just broke 50,000 in the Dow. We just broke 7,000 in the S&P. They said we couldn't do it in 7 years, in 5 years, 4 years. They were saying maybe in 5 or 6 years. And we did it in 1 year. And I called everybody together. I called all of these people and others, and I said, we have to take a little journey. I say to do this. We just had the great number. We just broke 50,000. Wasn't supposed to happen during my term. Wasn't reachable. We did it in 1 year, and I said, we're going to have to make a journey to Iran. They're going to have a nuclear weapon if we don't do it. We had the B-2 bombers take them out. I terminated in the first term the Obama agreement, the Iran nuclear agreement, which was a disaster. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. They would have used it. They would have used it 100%. So, when you do things like that, you become a target. If I wasn't doing that, I guess I'd be a lot less of a target. But I'm honored to be. Okay, one more question. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, President Trump. Do you know how the gun was brought into the hotel? And also, how does this event impact you as the leader of our country? Do you think it will change your
I
leadership?
like not to think about it. I lead a pretty normal life, considering it's a dangerous life. I think I handle it as well as it can be handled. I think a lot of other people, you read stories where they become basket cases. To be honest with you, I'm not a basket case. I really take it as it is. I do it for the country. I'm not doing it for any other reason. I have a first lady who's doing a terrific job. She loves the country, and she recognizes it better than anybody. She's told me numerous times. She said, "You are in a dangerous job," but that goes along with her too. I mean, it's dangerous for her too. We sat there tonight. We heard that noise, and it was either a tray or a bullet. I was hoping it was a tray, but it wasn't. And again, we had some very brave people doing a great job, so I'm happy with them. I just want to thank everybody. They will be able to give you all that information as to the names and everything else. I think we released the names already. Most of you would have it, but his name. We appreciate it. I see so many tuxedos and beautiful dresses. It was a little different evening than we thought, but we're going to do it again, and we have a great chairman who we're so proud of, and we have to make it better. We'll make it safer, I guess, right? But we're going to make it even better. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
You talked about how impactful this was. Can we hear from her about?
Well, honey, would you want to say something?
Okay.
Huh?
One in the back.
Right.
Millions of people across the globe, in fact, are watching you. You demonstrated courageous leadership, and thank God you're alive. All of us are alive today. What is the message that you want to give to the world that this should change? What corrective measures can we take from here on?
Well, all you can do, look, I don't care how many people you have, how good they are. They can be the greatest people. You have the greatest security in history. If you have a whack job who's got a brain, but it's a little bit distorted or a lot distorted, they can make trouble. I would say, Pete, right? They can make trouble. Some of these people are of genius level IQ, and they're nuts. So it can be trouble. So you do absolutely the best. You get the best. We have the best people. Well, look, it was proven tonight. He started running from 50 yards, and he was fast. He was like a blur on tape. He was moving. It was very impressive the way they got him, because a lot of people would be looking and saying, it's like a weird feeling, and they would let him get through, but they didn't let him get through. They drew those guns so fast. They looked like Matt Dillon. They looked like somebody that knew what they were doing, and we really do. But it comes with the territory. And if you want to do a great job, I really believe that. And you take a look at what's happened to some of our greatest presidents, and it doesn't happen to people that don't do anything. And it's not going to deter me from winning the war in Iran. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I really don't think so, based on what we know. But we're going to continue to do a great job. That's all I can do. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Glad you're okay.
All right, so that looks to be the end of the address from the president. I was hoping that we were going to get the update from the chief as well. However, we're going to be staying with this. I'm probably going to take a short break. I have some panelists that will be joining us in a minute. Again, my name is Rick Robinson. This is a joint simulcast of KLRMradio.com, Digital Beacon, USnews.com. I am general manager of KLRM Radio and the managing editor of Digital Beacon US News. We'll be back in just a minute and we'll start the conversation officially. I'm going to see while I'm on break if I can find the presser from the chief. So we'll be right back. And yes, if I seem discombobulated, this was supposed to be my night off. Anyway, we'll be right back.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
Yeah. An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow.
It's been an actual nightmare.
To oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez. Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis. Now streaming on Freevee.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome in to a special news update here live on KLRNradio.com, digitalbeaconusnews.com. I am Rick Robinson. For those of you that aren't new around here, you may recognize me from The Daily Show I do, Rick Robinson Show, and a handful of others. Also, again, I am the news director / managing editor, Digital Beacon US News. We have been carrying President Trump's press conference shortly after what I am calling a terror attack. Nobody else in the media seems to be wanting to do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we're going to get started. I may or may not have some folks joining me here in a little bit. I've got a few things we're definitely going to want to touch on. I've got some folks that are trying to get up to speed and spun up and join me as well. But here we go anyway. So we've been staying with the live coverage, and we're going to continue to talk about this for a while longer. And we just finished carrying the president's press conference, and we'll look into any official updates as they come in tonight after what appears to be what most of the media is terming a major security emergency at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Washington Hilton in Washington, D.C. So here's what we can say, and I'm trying to be careful as I can because there's still things that we don't know. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump were removed from the event by the Secret Service after what is being reported as a shooting or attempted breach near the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Vice President J.D. Vance and other senior officials were also evacuated or secured. Reuters has reported that a suspect armed with a shotgun attempted to breach security near the main screening area, fired on a uniformed Secret Service agent, and was quickly apprehended. Reuters also reports that no federal officials were injured and that the agent was protected by gear. So let's start there. So this is what we know. So what we know is the metal detectors, or as they are called, magnometers, were actually set up in the lobby. Not exactly sure why they weren't outside of the lobby, but that's just coming from somebody that used to wear a badge and a gun back in the day. Now, that being said, apparently, according to information that's come to light while I was listening to the president's press conference, it is believed, and I think they actually brought this up as a question too, it is believed that the shooter, or the alleged shooter, assembled his weapon somewhere on the premises, which is why he was able to get that near the dining room. And based on all reports, and even from what I've heard from the audio, he wasn't very close. He made it into the lobby, which is where they had the security screening, and he charged the screener and opened fire. Now, let me be clear from the beginning. We're live. The facts on this are still moving. This is one of those nights where social media will outrun law enforcement. Cable news will repeat phrases before they are fully understood. And everybody with a blue check mark or a live stream will suddenly become an expert in presidential security. I'm going to try not to do that here as much as possible. We are going to separate what we know, what is being reported, what officials confirm, and what we do not know yet. And that last category matters. We do not know the suspect's motive yet. We can suspect it. We can think about it. We can assume we know, but we don't actually know. We do not know whether this was political, ideological, personal, foreign connected, domestic, random, deranged. My money's kind of on that last one, no matter what. Coordinated or anything else. We do not know if this was an assassination attempt unless our intel officials use that language. We do not know whether this individual ever got inside the ballroom. Actually, we do know that didn't ever happen. The early reporting points to the security or screening area, and that distinction matters because, again, while the setup seems a little weird for folks like me that have done stuff like this before, you usually want the metal detectors away from, the main entry area. So, but for those of you that are on, I don't want to say my side on this thing, but, of my political bent, because, I am Team Trump. I don't always agree with him, but I think he's probably the best option we would have had at the time, especially for everything that's going on. But this isn't really the night for that. The reason I bring that up, though, is, again, this is the third time. If what I suspect is the motivation here, then this is the third time in 2 years that they've tried to take a shot at this man. They've missed again and again and again. I feel like at some point, Donald Trump should act out the line for the scene from Kirk in Wrath of Khan, where he's like talking to Khan. He's like, but you keep missing the target. I mean, if there was a set person trying to kill him Dr. Evil style, that would be pretty cool. But that's not what's happening here. So, again, how did someone reportedly armed with a shotgun get close enough to cause this level of emergency at one of the most high-profile events and political and media events in Washington? We kind of have the answer to that question. The gun was taken in piecemeal, likely in bags, since it's a hotel, and assembled on premises, and then dude actually didn't even make it past the security checkpoint. I do want to point out that for everybody screaming and yelling about Donald Trump trying to put a ballroom on the grounds of the White House, kind of seems like maybe that doesn't seem quite so stupid now. Anyway, but what does it say about the state of this country that a black tie media dinner can turn into a live national security incident in a matter of seconds? And half the country can be like, oh, he's an idiot. This was staged, just like all the others. And the rest of us are just like, you know what? It wouldn't matter who the president was. All I would be doing right now, other than trying to talk to everybody about it and tell them what I think is going on and be able to tell you what we know, is say, maybe we should start praying for all these people that are so mad at somebody that they can't get through a few minutes without wishing that he was dead. But anyway, so this is again where we are tonight. The first priority is simple. The president is safe. The first lady is safe. The vice president is safe. All of the other senior officials, as far as we know, appear to be safe. Law enforcement appears to have stopped the suspect and or suspects, because I've heard different reports that there may or may not have been a second one, before this became something much worse. But the questions are just beginning. For those just joining us, we are in special live coverage following a security emergency at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump were removed from the event by Secret Service. Vice President J.D. Vance and other senior officials were secured as well. A suspect is reportedly in custody. Early Reuters reporting says the suspect was armed with a shotgun, attempted to breach security near the main screening area, which was inside the lobby, and fired on a uniformed Secret Service agent who was protected by his bulletproof vest. Again, the key word here is reported. We are going to keep that when we talk about this, because until we know official statements, until we know official motives, until we have official names, And sometimes, for me, even after I have official names, I don't usually use them, other than once to break the story, if it's something that I can break. And then after that, I'm just like the shooter, the suspect, whatever. So we know there was panic. We know there was an evacuation. We know the president was removed. We know that law enforcement responded. And we do know that a suspect is in custody. But we still don't know very much other than that. And it's not because the information isn't out there. It's because I haven't necessarily been able to confirm it yet. As we go on, we may or may not bring in more of that information. However, I do have a couple of different things that I definitely want to discuss. One of those is kind of the beginning of what I saw of the incident. This is the moment when Secret Service ushered out the Vice President of the United States, and I'll have that on the screen momentarily. And we should have that now, as soon as it changes over. And let's get my ugly mug off the screen so you guys can see the whole thing. Is it going to have volume, though? It looks like it.
There's the president being escorted. The president being escorted out one side. The vice president being escorted.
All right, so there you saw Vice President Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance being escorted off one side of the stage by Secret Service. The president himself was ushered off on the other side. And sorry, Gene, I never heard you come in. I usually get a beep. Anyway, he's with us now, so let me turn my camera back on because I realized I still had mine off. But yeah, so I'm sorry. I never even realized you came in because usually I get a beep, and for some reason I didn't hear one.
Typical Rick Robinson, always oppressing
That's
me.
all right. Now I can't hear you anyway. One moment. Okay, I don't have you muted on my side, so you may need to just come out and come back in.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Negative, sir.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Nope.
Come back.
All right, so we will get him off the screen, let him hopefully re-exit and come back in. But again, my name is Rick Robinson. You are listening to live coverage concerning the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner event. I'll be joined hopefully here in just a moment by Gene Baradelli of This Week in Democracy, Behind Enemy Lines Radio. He's been a longtime friend here. So weird. You guys could hear him? I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat, and it looks like maybe they were saying for some reason they could hear him, even though I couldn't. Yeah, maybe it'll be all right when he comes back. All right, so let me get back into. Oh wait, never mind. Something weird is going on because I'm not getting the alerts. So I wonder if it has something to do with that.
Can you hear me?
Okay, hang on a second. There's got to be a setting wrong in me on my side somewhere. Hang on, because they were saying they can hear you, so I think I know what it is. 1 second. Okay, how about now?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I found it. I forgot when I was researching everything else, we were running a different live broadcast, so I had the stream that I was running.
Typical Rick Robinson,
muted.
always oppressing me when I write them on the show.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Yeah, they were telling me in the chat they could hear you, and I'm like, you can, because I can't. And then it dawned on me, I was like, wait, if they can hear him and I can't, then I know
Chat's
what it
always
is.
got
And
my
I wish I
back.
would have figured that out.
Chat's always got my back. I
Wish I
appreciate
would've-
you guys so much.
Wish I would have figured that out before I told you to come out and come back in, but here we
Yeah,
are.
no problem.
All right, so anyway, welcome to the special broadcast of, terror in DC. I don't know. I don't really know what to call this thing. So here we are.
You take a weekend off, you decide to sit down with your family, throw on a throwback movie. We were watching Mannequin 2 on the move, enjoying the majesty that is Terry Kaiser and Meshack Taylor, and all hell breaks loose. But Rick, if you want, you can check the private chat right now. The New York Post is reporting the name of the alleged shooter, and there's also a photo of him on the ground as well. According to the New York Post, and I'm not saying that they're reliable or not, I'm just saying that they're the ones reporting it. The shooter is named Cole Allen. He's from Torrance, California, according to the article, 31 years old, and he is a teacher in California. Now, again, you're putting it up on the screen, and I appreciate that. I'm just going to read from what I have here on
I
the
always
phone.
forget what a bandwidth whore.
Yeah, well, it's one of those nights, man. The gunman who opened fire at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C. on Saturday night has been identified as Cole Allen of Torrance, California. The 31-year-old, whose federal law enforcement source confirmed is a teacher, was in custody after gunfire broke out near the event's main security screening area at just about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Allen appeared to assemble a quote-unquote long weapon in a lightly monitored area near the terrace-level entrance before opening fire and rushing towards the ballroom. Witnesses described a frantic scene inside the venue. After 7 to 8 rounds were fired, attendees dove under tables as confusion spread, as Rick was showing you in his video. One journalist said guests crawled under our table for what felt like a long time. President Trump has been praising law enforcement, as you saw during the press conference that Rick was airing earlier. So it appears to be a teacher from California. And if you go through the photos in the article, Rick, the first photo up should show you the photo of the gentleman without a shirt on in custody with law enforcement all
I've got
around
one
him.
of those. Yeah, I've got one of those from another source, and New York Post is a bandwidth whore, so I had to pull it down. Hang on just a second.
No problem. So just so you guys know, my co-host and pal Ross Galloway texted me as well, because I said, "Hey, do you want to come on with me?" Because we're an awesome threesome. We're together, and his response was, and I'm quoting right now: "Can't tonight, unfortunately. Probably for the better. I'm ready for war." Because as we all know, Ross is the military side of the Behind Enemy Lines show that we do. Yeah, that's the photo I was referring to earlier of the gentleman who was apprehended and is supposed to be the suspect in custody right now.
Well, the scariest thing, if the suspect is allegedly who they're reporting that he is, the scariest thing isn't even necessarily that this guy's a teacher. Apparently, he was like the teacher of the month in December of 2024 or something, which, I mean, for commie failure, doesn't seem like maybe as much of a reach, but I would hope the teachers winning awards like that would actually be decent human beings. But what do I know?
Well, at this point, I don't want to speculate as to motive. But you got to think this is another, forgive me for saying this, another lefty lunatic out there that decided to take their shot. And if what is being reported is correct, that this was a quote unquote long weapon that was somehow able to penetrate security getting into the hotel itself and then being assembled in a lightly secured area, it sounds to me that there's more than one person that would have to do this. How does one sneak in a weapon, then have the wherewithal and the knowledge of going to an area that was no security? I think there's more questions than answers right now, but thank goodness there's a start to this with someone who's already in custody.
Yeah, the one thing that I loved is, of course, as soon as all this started popping off, I saw a lot of people on the left screaming false flags, and then I saw a lot of people on the left screaming that the right was already blaming them, even though we didn't have any idea what was going on. And then you find out about things like this. These were the lovely signs for protest right outside this very dinner, where somebody started taking shots at someone, and they're all about death and people dying and how they deserve it. So, yeah,
And, well,
can't imagine why anybody starts blaming one particular side for most of this stuff. Most of the
Well,
time.
Rick, don't you know we're back in the cycle again, where incident happens. Everyone's going to say to calm down the rhetoric. Democrats are not going to calm down the rhetoric, and then incidents are going to happen again. It's that vicious cycle that we've been seeing since 2024 when it comes to President Trump. And again, I'm not one to. I'm actually one to judge slowly. I want to judge slowly. We have someone in custody. There's going to be a fog of war feel to what's going on here. We've already seen that, by the way, with CNN's Caitlin Collins reporting that the shooter had been unalived during the attempted apprehension. That turned out to be untrue. And then you hear now that there is someone in custody. So we are in the fog of war period of what's going on here. And for every Republican that's going to be saying, well, look, all the signs and all the rhetoric there, you can say on the other side, Caroline Leavitt did say before the dinner that President Trump's speech was going to have some quote unquote shots fired as well. So
yeah, but that's a Gen Z phrase, dude.
Yeah, I know it's a Gen Z phrase, dude, but you're going to have the same rhetoric coming from the other side. So if the Democrats are going to say that, if Republicans are going to say that the line was crossed with the death signs that were out there, Democrats will say, well, what about the shots fired comment? So take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, but here, and look, you're right because it's already happening, but at the same time, shots fired in the current vernacular just means that you've started something.
I mean, let's take it. It would have been better if I'm just saying it would have been better if Caroline Leavitt would have said, "Well, there's going to be some fireworks tonight," or something to that effect. Well, listen, it is what it is, right?
I mean, I'm not saying especially in hindsight that it wasn't maybe a poor choice of words, but I'm saying for somebody that is only, what is she, 26, 27 years old, that word doesn't mean to you. Those two words together don't mean to you or to her what they mean to you and me. That's a slang term now.
Listen, all I know is that we're a politics show over here, right? And if we're going to be talking about the politics of the situation, I would normally take a 24-hour moratorium, let the dust settle, and probably talk about this on Monday with my show coming up then. But obviously, the reactionaries on both sides are going to be able to point at each other to see exactly where they can get to political high ground.
I mean, here's the thing. Other than the president himself, I don't think anybody has any political high ground here. The president does because he's the one they keep trying to take shots at. But Congress isn't doing a damn thing. We're still, what are we, day 75 since, these guys were just taking, one of them took a bullet to his vest tonight, and he's doing it without pay. I don't know about you, but I used to do that kind of work. I damn sure wouldn't be doing it if nobody was paying me.
Well, I definitely haven't done that kind of work, and God bless people like you who are doing that kind of work. The work that I would normally do as an attorney that comes after all the dust is settled and investigations have been done, and that's sort of the perspective that I bring to this. Obviously, the questions are going to be, well, you know what? Let's play this out a little bit, guys. If you are on the left and you're thinking like a lefty, the talking points are going to be centered around, well, how did this guy get as far as he did? They're going to be talking about it being, the left-wing reactionaries are going to talk about being staged. They're going to say that this is going to be a distraction from Epstein. This is a distraction from what's going on in Iran. It's a distraction what's going on with Israel. And it will muddy the news cycle. When the news cycle should really be about who is this guy? How did he get in here? Did he act alone? Where's the investigation going? And what can be done within the Secret Service to prevent this from happening again? Because let's be honest here, while we can all applaud the Secret Service in their response to this, where was the intelligence that this was happening? Where was the inspection of materials going in? If this gun was assembled, how did this get in there? And I think there needs to be some questions about that.
Current breaking is that he may have actually been a guest of the hotel and managed to assemble the gun elsewhere and then stash it while trying to rush the checkpoint. My only question, having done this kind of work, is one that I mentioned shortly after the press conference ended. I don't understand why the magnometers were in the lobby of the building. They should have been outside.
Well, there should have been more than one checkpoint, I would think. Listen, I am not a security expert, and I can't answer as to what has been done or not. But as an outside observer, I hear news breaking about the Butler incident where Secret Service actually had interactions with the shooter there, allegedly, prior to the shooting. And now I'm hearing about this. What in the world is going on here? I'm glad you're bringing this video up. This is video from Truth Social that Donald Trump posted for transparency purposes. And what you're about to see is the alleged shooter running through this checkpoint area. You can go ahead and play that, pal.
It looked like he checked it twice.
Lieutenant Hudson, you monitoring this area?
Here he comes up.
Obviously.
Shall I post it as soon as he passed down that?
18, go for
The guy was
Okay,
he was speed running like he was going through a Scientology building.
Dude, he was like, he was running like a fat guy, knowing that, McDonald's just went on sale or something. I don't know, dude. That was fast.
I want to know why that Secret Service guy didn't take the hit and shied away from it. But listen, split-second decisions, I'm not going to second guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, it's really easy to do that. But again, I see the thing about it is the reason it's okay to wonder why someone who is doing that job didn't just dive in, because you could see him, when the dude, he's like jumping back and then
natural reaction is get the hell out of the way. What the hell's going on?
But not for them. That's the thing. They have trained these type of incidents so well that it should have been muscle memory for him to do the exact opposite. So that actually does surprise me. I mean, I'm not necessarily faulting him for it because they still had the dude down within a few seconds. And I don't know if you've heard the audio from inside the room, but it was pretty apparent that he was quite a ways out when he started shooting and never made it anywhere near there. But again, to me, as somebody who used to, even after the wearing the badge and the gun thing, I went into private sector work and started doing the same kind of thing for more money. This would have been an event where I would have specifically said, we need metal detectors here, we need metal detectors here, and we need at least one set outside, because that way, but then again, even if there was a set outside, if he was already a guest inside the hotel, he was already in the hotel. So that may have been why he just took off sprinting past the checkpoint. Because I heard, I think it was Bill Maloogian on Fox talking about how from going in from outside, there were 3 or 4 different points all along the way that they were stopping you, seeing if you were going there and to verify that you had a ticket. So if this, and from what I'm starting to hear now, this man may have been a guest of the hotel, which would explain why a lot of that was able to be bypassed. And at the same time, why he probably just tried to sprint past the checkpoint because he knew he didn't have a ticket to get in there in the first place.
Yeah, and obviously the most important thing we need to talk about with the Secret Service response is the swift response to actually getting everybody who's on the dais off the stage. And that's probably the most important part of any sort of incident that happens like this. I'm glad that we are talking about a press conference with the president and everyone being safe, the vice president, first lady, the second lady, everyone safe that was up there. And let's take stock in that.
I mean, and that's exactly my point. This could have been a completely different scenario, and it could have been so much worse. And again, I wonder where these security breakdowns were. I wonder how it is that they didn't at least have on their radar that there may have been something like this, or it could just be that they have so many coming at them right now that they're doing the best they can. I don't really know, but the thing is, and I don't know if you're aware of this or not, and I'm sure you probably are, but just in case you're not, Reagan was shot right outside this hotel. That's where he got shot. So, as soon as the funny thing is, I kept telling myself, I need to watch this tonight. I need to watch this tonight. I need to watch this tonight. And I'm like, no, it's supposed to be my only night off this week. I'm going to take it off. And then the next thing I know, everybody's like, holy shit, they just tried to kill him again. I'm like, God.
Yeah, I'm going through X right now to see what instant reactions we're seeing from different people. Nancy Pelosi posted about 8 minutes ago, it is a great relief that the president, first lady, and everyone in attendance at the White House Correspondents' Dinner is safe following a terrifying act of violence inside the venue. The brave men and women of the United States Secret Service and local law enforcement are to be commended for their swift action to secure the scene and protect those present. As someone whose family has suffered political violence, my prayers are with the injured officer and all those affected by the trauma of these horrible incidents. Senator Mike Lee also posted online about an hour ago saying how our national security is in peril. The same Secret Service that just saved President Trump's life has been defunded for more than 2 months. It's time to end the DHS shutdown now. So that's coming out there. I'm sure there'll be other reactions coming in more and more as we keep watch on the interwebs to see
Yeah,
exactly what people are saying.
I've actually got another one. Here's one from Akeem Jeffries. Thankful for the swift law enforcement action to protect everyone from gunfire at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, praying for the safety of those who may remain in harm's way. The violence and chaos in America must end. Not necessarily surprised by that. I am surprised he seems to forget just as the other day he was the one telling everybody that we needed maximum warfare everywhere all the time.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
But
there's a history of incendiary comments from the left with regards to President Trump. I mean, you can go back to when I believe it was Senator Chris Murphy said that we were at war. And the next day is when Charlie Kirk was unalived. So, yeah, we've seen statements like this so frequently from the left that when anything happens where there is an incident of violence like this, you can almost point back to just about anyone on the left making a violent statement within 24 hours of that, because it's a 24/7 thing going on when it comes to the violent rhetoric, incendiary comments coming from the left.
Case in point, here's Akeem Jeffries 11 hours ago. Republican extremists are big mad that that the American people have turned against their failed policies. Keep the pressure on. Now, I know to me and you, that sounds normal, but to guys like this guy, that would have been a dog whistle.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing other comments like from Congressman Mike Lawler of New York talking about his experience there with his wife being present there. And yeah, we're going to be getting a lot of these harrowing stories. My question is, how are the mainstream media going to respond to this? This is not only an attack on the president, but it's an attack on them as well. I mean, I believe Wolf Blitzer was supposed to be outside where this happened, and there was an instance there. And another reporter from, I think, One American News was out there as well.
Yeah.
Are all these reporters going to understand what this president has been dealing through? Is it going to be so visceral to them now that they're going to take it easy on him? Or are they going to blame the rhetoric from Trump, maybe, like people are trying to do with blaming the rhetoric from the left? It's going to be very interesting to see people's reactions to that.
I don't think there's so. I think the only thing that may have them discussing this a little bit is their limited self-awareness because it does involve them. But I still think they're going to blame Trump for it, because if he hadn't shown up, that wouldn't have happened. I guarantee you that will probably come out sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Well, it's always been prior to Donald Trump, it was always tradition for the president to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He's the one that actually broke that tradition. So his returning here was sort of like an olive branch to the media for him to actually attend this, for his cabinet to attend this, for people to sit at different tables with different agencies and to try to bring back what the left may call a sense of normalcy to the proceedings. Yeah. And to now see this whole thing go wrong, will it deepen the divide between people? I think that this will probably maybe not deepen the divide, but confirm the divide. Why are all these people on my face here, Rick? What are you doing? There we go. You get what I'm saying.
They changed something with the chat. It used to actually automatically size when I brought it on, and I've noticed lately it's not doing that.
So you're saying that the size of the chat doesn't matter to you? Is that what it is?
I mean, I'm not a size queen like some people.
Well, are you? Well, you heard it here first, guys. Rick Robinson confirms queendom. So Harmony Dillon actually posted an hour ago as well, saying that she has a little bit of an injury of this. She got a bruise on her head from Secret Service running across her table and chairs while she ducked under the Washington Post table. See, that's what I was talking about the administration and the White House correspondents working together to try to put different members of the administration at different tables with different press organizations to try to foster that at least a little bit of that olive branch of camaraderie, a unification, if you will, for respect for the First Amendment, and this gunman may have helped with that divide or hurt with that divide. Hurted. I can't believe I said that on air. But you get what you know what I mean? It could be a unifying moment, or it could be an ununifying moment here, depending upon what that person experienced and how they react going forward from this.
So what you're saying is it could either be a unifying moment or a disillusionary one.
If that's the word you want to use, fine, Mr. Big Words. Mr.
Yeah,
$5 word over here.
There's, I'm just saying, ununifying, not really a thing. But anyway,
by the
so
way, before we go on to another piece of news here, I just want to say shout out to the chat, especially you trolls out there. But I gotta say, let me be honest though. Can I just be honest with you, trolls? I'm kind of ignoring you because you're not that good. You see, when I'm on a show, I require a higher level of trolling. You need to be funnier. You need to be a little more incendiary. You need to actually say something that wouldn't be typical. And a lot of you out there are going back to typical attempts at owning that don't work anymore. You're trying to go back to old pieces of news and whataboutisms. And honestly, yawn. I ain't even going to acknowledge if you're not a good troll. So up your game a little, please.
All right, so I do want to address this one only because we tried to answer this, but I don't think they were in here yet. So how did he get all the way into the building? He was a guest of the hotel. How did he get past security? For some reason, they had the magnometers inside the building. As somebody who's done live events and personal protection, I would have had them outside the building, but I wasn't the one in charge. How did he get past security? Again, we addressed that when we were watching the video. I'm not sure why dude stepped backwards and then chased him when every muscle instinct I would have had would have been to jump in front of him. But whether he got past him or not, dude was still stopped in like 3 seconds. But how he was already in the building it's a hotel. He was able to rent a room. They can't stop him. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to keep on monitoring X to see if there are any other top reactions that we should talk about here.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking for the same thing. But yeah, I was looking. There was supposed to be. So I guess I misunderstood something because I thought they already had the spokesperson for the DC Metro Police already in the room because they kept saying they were going to be going to him after the press conference with the president was over. So I assumed that maybe they just meant after they were done taking questions, they were going to have him come up for a little bit and talk. And then I could never find I thought they were supposed to be. Maybe they're not ready for theirs yet. I don't know because I haven't seen it pop off anywhere yet that I can find.
Yeah, I'm seeing other reactions. People are speculating that this may have been an attempt of suicide by cop for this alleged shooter, and he ended up alive. So we don't. I mean, at this point, there are open possibilities. You can openly speculate, and at this point, everything is sort of in bounds. But I just want to caution everybody that if you are out there speculating and you want to say something, make sure you make it clear that you're speculating because listen, the internet's forever. A post on X will stick around unless you delete it, of course, but someone's always going to screen capture it, and you may be having takes that age like milk later on. So just be a little responsible with your speculation and your words. I think it's perfectly valid to speculate as to the motive of the alleged shooter right now, and whatever secondary motives there may be, such as maybe this was an attempt at unaliving by cop. I don't know at this point. I'm not going to dispute you at this point. I'm just going to say be a little cautious with what you're saying here.
Where's the fun in that, though? No, I'm just kidding.
No, there is no fun in that. By the way, I saw you were playing the press conference earlier. I'm seeing praise from people like Scott Jennings for the tone that President Trump took during this press conference. He certainly sounded serious and was answering questions as best he could. I believe Kash Patel was also at the press conference saying that we will find the truth. No lead is too small. Because there is someone in custody, I'm confident we're going to find out a lot in the next 24 to 48 hours that we'll be talking about and that America will be waking up to on Monday morning when everyone's paying attention to the news again. And keep your powder dry, everybody, and we'll see exactly what comes out of this.
All right, so I do have one more thing I kind of want to go over real quick, and then I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep this going because at this point we're starting to recycle. But because I hadn't played this yet, this is actually what was happening right as everybody was realizing there was an active shooter event. Here we go.
I don't see anything playing. Do you have it going yet?
Hang on.
Please stand by, everybody. Rick is twisting buttons and knobs and all that.
Yeah,
He'll get it
no,
up in a
for some
second.
reason it didn't grab the audio. It does that sometimes when I try to load too many clips, but I normally have them preloaded. I didn't have a chance to do that tonight. So let's try it one more time.
Listen, it's okay.
Although the audio is absolutely terrible, so it wouldn't really make that much
Rick,
of a
it's
difference.
okay. Everybody shoots blanks every now and again. It's an age thing, and we understand totally. You'll
I mean,
you know.
You're taking some shots tonight.
I mean, I don't have these problems. Let me just make that perfectly clear. I don't have these problems at all. But as you like to point out to me, you are old.
How many times have I come on your show and nobody could hear me like for the first 5 minutes, and it's because your stuff was auto muting and nobody knew?
Oh, that wasn't me. That was you. Listen. My premature muting has been cured.
I think there might be pills for that. Well, dang it. Now I accidentally closed the screen altogether. So you know what? I think I may have one other way to pull this up. Hang on.
Excuse me while Rick whips this out. Uh-oh. Rick.
I guess the press conference is live. It's
Rick's
just on
having
C-SPAN.
performance issues.
I am not having any performance issues. I was looking to see if they had it clipped, but I don't think they do. I was hoping they might have. I was hoping C-SPAN might have already had what I was looking for clipped, but they don't. All right. So you know what? It's not that big a deal. You guys have probably already heard it a million times. Now, I do know that when I took a moment earlier when I was listening to it, I actually took a second I tried to DVR it, and I got part of it, but not all of it. But the shots were insanely far away. So where this guy was stopped was nowhere near anybody. Now, again, I will say I don't have any idea why there weren't multiple checkpoints. But again, if this guy was already in the hotel, and from all the reports he was a guest there, then he might have been able to bypass most of them anyway. Again, it is being reported that we do know who he is. His name has already been said on this broadcast, so I'm not going to say it again. As more information becomes available, we will definitely let you know. But since there's not much else to report, unless Gene's found anything juicy while I was trying to find that clip again, I think we may.
As of right now, I'm just seeing reactions from different people. Some are saying that there was no security at the initial entryway into the building, that you only had to show an invite to get in there in order to gain entry into the building itself. So that's something that we may want to address. Actually, something you addressed already, Rick, is that there weren't adequate checkpoints, at least in your opinion, as to what happened. I'm just going to see if refresh my feed here, see if there's anything else going on here. Not really seeing anything else here. I see some jokes about, the White House correspondents wearing different pins in unity against Trump and things like that.
Oh wait, now I remember there was at least one more thing I wanted to show, and this actually happened before you're going to be joining. I definitely wanted to have this because it involves one of your favorite people. So, one moment.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that one? Yeah, it's that one. Okay. All right. So it should be coming up on the screen here in just a second, and then I will work on making it do all the things.
Oh, the great Don Lemon.
Yeah. So this was 3 hours ago. So this was right as the event was kicking off, if memory serves.
Was he even invited?
No, this is why he's bitching from his car. But it's more about what he said in this minute and 44 seconds. Because, again, this was right before the shots rang out, if I'm doing my math right.
Let's talk about the White House Correspondents' Center. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's why I am not in that room tonight, even though I was invited, because I don't want to sit in a room and pretend it's normal and sip champagne in black tie and ball gowns, pretending that this is normal when it's not. This is not normal Republican versus Democratic politics. The Trump regime is trying to take away press freedom. They are trying to kill the First Amendment. They don't believe in the First Amendment. And they don't believe in freedom of the press. Otherwise, they would not be arresting reporters. They would not be searching their homes. They would not be taking their cell phones. They wouldn't be trying to investigate them because they write a story that you don't like about your girlfriend. All of those things. I can't believe the White House Correspondents Association invited them to be in that room. I don't understand it. I don't get it. You have to take a stand. And if you're in that room, you are co-signing this. You are complicit in normalizing something that should not be normal. Something that is really, what they're doing is unconstitutional. So I think it's going to be up to independent journalists.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Fight the good fight.
Hang on. Give me one moment here. Sure. Accused criminal says what?
Right.
But it's unconstitutional for the. Did he say the White House Correspondents' Dinner is unconstitutional, or did I hear that wrong?
I think he's talking about the fact that if you're in there, you're basically co-signing on all of Trump's.
Well, let's say this: CNN reported before all the high drama occurred that there was a very large turnout for this White House Correspondents' Dinner. I believe it was Mr. Potato Head there, their hall monitor, who said, as someone who has been here for many years at these events, this is the most crowded I've ever seen it. So, Don Lemon trying to be all, virtue signaling and all that. Maybe it's best that you're not in the same room with officials from the Department of Justice. Anything you say can and will be used against you at your trial.
Yeah, your trial. But yeah, no, I mean, so the thing that I find the most amusing about this particular individual talking about things being unconstitutional, when you embed yourself with a hate group and then harass people in a church, but you want to talk about things that are unconstitutional.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
funny
the great Don Lemon.
But yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, and this is what drives me nuts. I mean, you're seeing raging examples of it in our chat tonight. Somebody just took a pot shot at the president of the United States, and half the country is saying that it was fake.
Listen, I can't help the mental acuity of people who try to come on here. Do they realize they're coming on to a rather small outlet's stream, trying to raise a ruckus, and you think this is a good thing? You're like, wow, I really own those guys now. Those two old men. Oh, I really showed them, haven't I?
Oh,
okay, buddy. You're so important. Why don't you show up on a Fox News stream and see what attention you get? You'll get the same amount from them as you get from us. We don't even care. You can say whatever you want. You can try every whataboutism in the book, and it ain't going to go nowhere because you're not going to derail the current conversation. And for anybody going out there talking about, Trump doing bad things to little children, prove it. Prove it.
Right.
Prove it. I want proof. If you have the proof and you're withholding it from us, you're the problem. So if you want to go out there and you want to cast that aspersion, I hope that you're able to back it up. Back it up with some proof. I would. Are you kidding me? This stream would love to break that news. If you break that news on our stream, it'll put us on the map. Give us the proof. Give us all the proof in the world.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name, but you're up on the big screen, and you should be seeing it about 3, 2, 1.
We see it on there.
We got rid of the diaper wearing traitor in the last election, sir. So there you go. All right. So I've been doing.
Okay, no. Put up the next one. Put up the next one in the chat real quick, because this is what they do. See, prove it, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Listen, I got broad shoulders. I can take all your bullshit.
Nice.
By the way, your mom says hi.
Well, counting the prep work, I've put in about 3 hours on what was supposed to be my day off. So I think at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and start shutting things down. Where can folks find you, my friend?
Well, I don't want these people to find me. No, I'm kidding. So if you want to find me on Monday at 10 a.m., you'll hear from me about this story on the Buffoon of the Week YouTube channel. We got thousands of subscribers on there. Check me out there. You can also find me on X at GBERARDELLI. That's G Baradelli. Feel free to follow me or not. I post a lot of different content, basically anything I want to talk about. And you can also find me here with Rick Robinson with my show Behind Enemy Lines, Wednesdays 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's really it. I mean, follow me, don't follow me. It's all good. We'll keep on talking about this stuff.
All right, folks. Again, I am Rick Robinson. I am the general manager, KLMradio.com, news director / managing editor / managing editor,
Chief cooking bottle washer.
Digital Beacon US News.
He busts his tables at Fridays.
Only because of the cheese sticks. I love the cheese sticks at Fridays. I bought tables for cheese sticks. All right, but yeah, no, as my granddad used to call me, I am a jackass of all trades and pretty much am here almost 6-7 days a week. This week was 7, thanks to this fucking leftist. All right, but anyway, we're going to get out of here. Again, want to thank everybody for taking the time to hang out with us, and I will be back tomorrow night for Kingdom and Country, exclusively on KLRN Radio. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully the rest of the lineup will be there, so make sure you join us. I think the Vincent Charles Project kicks off at 6 Eastern, I think. But anyway, we're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your night. Even you trolls, and especially you trolls.
Fuck the trolls.
Now we and Donald Trump, all 3 of us live free in your heads for the rest of the night, and I guarantee it. Bye, everybody.
Trump the king.